Get started this evening,
Whatever you want to do.
6:45. Mary, you want to did you have the public notice you could read, please?
Okay, public notice. Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget of the town of Clermont for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2019 has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk, 1795 Route 9, Clermont, where it is available for inspection by any interested persons during regular town clerk hours. Further notice is given that the town board of the town of Clermont will hold a public hearing at 6:45 p.m. on Monday, November 5th, 2018, prior to the regular town board meeting. At the public hearing, any person may be heard in favor of or against any item or items therein contained. Pursuant to town law, the proposed salaries are hereby specified as follows. Supervisor, $5,500. Town council, $2,500 each. Town clerk, $6,900. Town justice, $5,450 each. I'm sorry, total. No, I'm sorry, $5,540 each. Tax collector, $4,500. Superintendent of Highways, $50,533. Building inspector, code enforcement officer, $9,000. Assessor, $15,270. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Okay.
With opening the public hearing, I'd just like to, on the 2019 budget, I'd just like to go through real quick, outline the numbers, and go over a few of the highlights. Most of this is pretty much the same stripped-down budget as the previous year. But again, like I said, I do have the highlights to go over with everybody, just to let everybody know what the differences would be, the biggest difference. First off, there's going to be no tax increase. No tax increase as far as the town taxes go, which is great, the same amount as last year that we collected. The taxable rate for the town has actually went down a little bit because the total taxable value of this town has went up. So your tax rate per thousand of assessment has went down from 49.07 cents per thousand to 47.5 cents per thousand. So you may actually see, if your assessment didn't change and everything stayed the same, you may actually see a couple penny discount or go down on your taxes. Again, we're collecting the same amount as we did last year, so there will be no increase, which is the main thing. Just to go over some of these highlights, the raises for this year, there was only 4 raises awarded this year. The highway department, which is basically our only full-time employees, we have 2 full-time workers. We gave a 2% raise, which brings their hourly rate up to about $19.90, just under $20 per hour per man. The highway superintendent also received the same 2% raise, which brought his salary up to $50,533, as Mary just stated. Again, these salaries and these rates for our highway department are in the ballpark, but on the lower end of most towns. We do have the cheapest rate for the highway superintendent in the county. So I just wanted to point that out, but we did award 2% for both for those 3 employees. Our building inspector was the only other person that received the raise. He requested some additional funds this year. He's been tackling that department, really changing the way we do things, getting us in line with all the requirements. He's a lot more on top of the codes now, and he's pointing us in the right direction to help us get straightened out and to really maximize that department. So he did request a raise. We considered it. We went back and forth a little bit. We settled on a $1,500 raise, which brings the salary up to $9,000. And just to point out, the building inspector fees this year alone, I believe, is about, I don't know what the last payment, but somewhere around $13,000, $14,000 in fees already he's collected. So he's well more than paid for his department. So awarding him that raise is a modest raise, but we felt it was comfortable for what he's doing compared to other towns. 2 big purchases. I say big purchases. One is a big purchase. The highway department is put in for a new 1-ton dump truck, which is a smaller dump truck. It's a 550 with the plow, lights, and equipment. Roughly $75,000. You had a quote for just under that, so we budgeted $75,000 for that purchase. We'll be selling the old one at auction. Probably bring in maybe $10,000 or $12,000, maybe possibly more, but that'll also come back in. So, but we did budget $75,000 for that purchase, and you also put in a request for a mower head for the tractor for the sides of the roads, one of the ones that you can actually reach over and reach up on the banks, for $11,000. So he has two purchases, which we approved in the budget for $86,000. That $86,000 will be coming out of the equipment fund reserve account that we have. We do have the money, so we don't have to actually raise taxes or take it out of the budget. So it is in a reserve fund for just the equipment purchases, so that's where that will be drawn from. We did up the equipment fund contribution. Every year we make a fund contribution. Some years it's been 25, 30, 35,000 per year. We put into that every year to build up to the fund, so we have this money for these purchases when it comes up. This year we did raise that slightly, excuse me, to $45,000. So for 2019 we're budgeting $45,000 to go into the equipment fund to replenish that account and to keep building it, so we do have money for the larger purchases when we need it, as in the large plow trucks, which we all know exceeds over $200,000 when we need one. So we do want to build that up to make sure we have enough funds in there when the time comes. Park and rec fees, we did also budget $10,000 in the line item, which we're taking out of the park reserve fund, which is all the donations that we have to offset that. So we do have some money available in the budget to start working on some of the ideas that hopefully the park committee comes up with that we can start moving on. But that again did not come out of taxpayer dollars. It came out of the park and rec fees and the donations that we collected. And the last thing, the building repairs, we have budgeted the $20,500 in budget repairs. This is for mainly the work that needs to be done for the hail damage repairs. We are not going to probably proceed with that this year. It's been very difficult to get people to bid on this and work on it this time of year. It's very busy. The rain has just obviously been terrible for anybody in business, but we are going to carry that over for next year. So that is in the budget for next year. It is also money we already have been reimbursed from NYMER, so it is money we have. So again, that is not affecting the taxes for next year. Other than that, the rest of it is pretty much status quo from the year before. Total budget for 2019 is $756,067. And again, we're collecting the exact same amount we did from taxpayers, is $104,580. The last thing I will mention, and I'll probably mention it later in the meeting, sales tax revenues has been a big contribution to helping us keep the taxes low. Certainly it keeps increasing slightly month by month, and that certainly helps offset the money we have to collect from taxpayers. So it, I can't say enough about the sales tax revenue. It certainly helps us out and keeps us going and keeps everybody's taxes where they are. So other than that, I will open it up to the floor for comments, questions on the 2019 budget.
Is there an extra copy of the budget then?
We do have a few copies here available, absolutely.
Oh, great. Anybody else need it?
Does the board have any comments or questions on the? Again, I'll ask if there's any other comments on the 2019 budget. Okay, at this point, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you. I'd like to call the November meeting to order with a salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get started this evening, we do need to take a quick executive session to discuss possible litigation. I'd like to motion to go to executive session, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Shouldn't take long. Okay, motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Before we get started with the quick presentation, I just want to address last month's meeting. I kind of wrote this down so I wouldn't get off track, but at our last meeting, I was very disappointed with the disruption and lack of control during our meeting. I've allowed public comments, questions, even discussions throughout our meetings because I value our constituents' input, but I will not allow another meeting like last month. Public comment is a privilege I allow during our meeting as a courtesy, not a requirement. Moving forward, I'm requesting all public comment and questions be held until the public comment period, unless someone has pertinent information that applies to our discussion and I call on you specifically for your question or comment. Everyone will have an opportunity for questions and comments in the public comment period. I appreciate everyone's compliance with this, as we are here to conduct town business in a professional and timely manner and cannot have another open mic night like last month. Thank you. That being said, before we get started with our meeting minutes, I'm going to actually, I know Mary's come in this evening to do a little quick presentation on the park moving forward, so I'm going to allow you to get going, start first, if you don't mind.
Okay. And I'm going to turn things right over to Amy Perrell. The Park Committee,
Thank you. How you doing?
as one of our first actions, we were asked to look at the front entrance of the park. We understand that DOT has a requirement of a berm and low-growing, I believe it was even native plants to be placed there. And Amy was nice enough to come up with several scenarios. It comes down to how much do you want to spend and when do you have to get it done? I also understand there's an issue with a bond for one of the construction companies. So if you need something in right away, here's option A, and then as you care to expand on it, there are other options. Amy.
All right.
Hi, I'm Amy Perella. I'm horticulture supervisor and arboretum director at Bard College, and I was asked in April to join the committee. So that's my background. I've only been on it for a little bit of time, but I understand this is a priority. And in addition to this, though, I'd like to be able to develop a full master plan for the park based on the Scenic Hudson plan. So this is a little bit cart before the horse, but because it's a priority, I think we should talk about it tonight.
Okay, excellent.
So in doing this, I took a picture, and this is in August, of the entrance. And what I understand is that some soil was delivered and dropped at the entrance of the park, and then some, I don't know where, but some daylilies came out of nowhere and were plunked in the middle, and then obviously weeds were left to grow. So you have some nice markers there for your entrance. And they're not even in the shape that was dictated by Morris Associates, which is in this plan right here, dated, 2016, which I believe is still valid. I did talk to Morris Associates. I deal with them myself on a semi-regular basis. And I believe this plan is fine the way it is. However, I would change it slightly. So the shape of the plan that is coming up next, with Route 9 and then the entrance there with the L berms, I think is a fine alternative to the curbing, which I think is a nice alternative actually. However, you can see in the profile, so here's the two planted beds here with actually their lawn berms with plants up, just planted at the very tippy top. And then here's the profile, and it's about a 2-foot berm. And that's what they want these to look like, a mounded soil. But I would just encourage, we have to make sure that the site distance is accurate when we pull out, which I think the current piles are not quite in the right location. So those would have to be moved to meet these specs. And then they advocate this lawn on either side, which I think would be challenging to mow, and then plantings just in the top piece.
Right.
So The two plants that Morris spec'd are native plants. They are these two plants. One is cranberry cotoneaster on the left, which is a pretty nice native shrub. It is good in full sun. It will take salt, road salt, and it is pretty four-season, evergreen, semi-evergreen leaves with round berries, red berries. That's pretty much in its late fall. That's what it looks like in the late fall. And then the other plant they recommended was the fragrant sumac low grow. So it's not your sumac tree, it's a shrub version of that. And I've grown that before, and both of these are native and nice plants, but I'll tell you the fragrant sumac is going to be maybe a little bit wild and informal looking. It grows to up to 5 to 6 feet. It's going to be a little tall for that berm. You're going to have to prune it on a regular basis. It's something that you just want to probably think about an alternative for. It is deciduous, so you'd be able to see through it, but I think that there's probably better plants out there. The cotoneaster, I think, is a nice alternative. It stays low, and I think that we could use that plant. However, I came up with a couple others that we might want to consider. This is just a mock-up real quick of the fragrant sumac and the cotoneaster. That's just like on the plan that Morris Associate developed. This is what it would look like, basically, with your grass berm. So it would give you an idea of what the entrance to Hetling Park would look like. To me, it's better than what it is now, but it doesn't say a lot for a park entrance, especially one that's 20 acres. So I just thought there could be some better alternatives for your entrance that you may want to think about. And none of these are definite. These were just ideas that I presented at the last meeting that I'll just present to you now. Okay. There's a close-up of that. Okay, so now with this one, I understand there's some soil restrictions because there's the geotextile fabric under there, and I can't get quite a straight answer on how much soil we have to dig in. Somewhere between 1 foot and 2 feet, I guess, it ranges. Right. But I'll work on trying to figure that out. But what I did here is I just thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a real entrance? There is a sign off to the right of the entrance that does say Hetling Park at Clermont. It's very small, and I think some people driving on a different side of the road might not even see it. So I thought, well, do you really want to make a statement? Maybe not right away, maybe not for the purpose of this planting right now, but maybe in the future it's good to plan for it. Do you want to have some sort of signage, a park sign that just announces that you're at this park? And it's in the center of town, so it would be nice to identify it in some important way. This is a simple stone wall that I threw in the background there. Does not have to be a stone wall. The lettering on it does not have to look like that, but it was just some way of marking that you have arrived and that here we are, this is the entrance. What else you see, though, are some different plantings that I picked out that would stay low. All of them are salt tolerant. They're all native. And it just gives a little more diversity because these are fairly big beds that they have spec'd out for you. And to just have a monocrop of just the two plants, it would be a little bit, I don't know, just an understatement, I think, for your entrance. But these are the plants I picked out. Many of them I've grown. I've grown a variety of the dwarf switchgrass, not that exact one, but that's the newest one on the market right now. Switchgrass is a native grass that does really well around here and in full sun. You can chop it down in the winter so snow can just pile on top of it, but it's beautiful, it stays low. All of these plants are 2 feet or less. The dwarf black-eyed Susan, that's a smaller version of the common black-eyed Susan that you know of. There's the cotoneaster, and the tree that I put in the picture was a flowering crabapple to kind of reflect and reminisce on the apples that were once grown in that field. And then daffodils could be mixed in with the black-eyed Susan, so you have that spring. This is kind of a 4-season planting, so you're going to have spring, summer, winter, fall interest in the planting. And then there's some other options. So again, this is the same planting with different sign. This is an acrylic or composite sign that says Hetling Park on it. I realize I know now that it's supposed to say Hetling Park at Clermont or of Clermont. At Clermont, yeah. So that's just another alternative. And here's a shingle. The committee did discuss putting in, maybe instead of the wall, a split rail fence behind it, just to give it some structure there. So that's an option as well. Again, this would all be bermed up, and we have to consider the depth, because anything that needs a footing would probably need 2 to 4 feet. So we just have to consider that. I think indeed the regrading happened up to the roadside, so we just have to make sure that at the road, with the berm included, that we have a full amount of 2 to 4 feet to do any of this signage. And I think that's it.
Okay, well, I mean, those beautiful renditions. What we're looking for, obviously is to make it look as nice as those pictures look, but I mean, lowest maintenance possible.
Yes,
Because
yep.
we don't want to hire somebody to do all this. I mean,
So-
our highway guys can do a lot of, but, we don't want to have a crew to maintain these
So
things.
that's absolutely, I'm in the same business. I don't like to have to maintain a lot of stuff either where I am. So the idea with this was that because it's right by the road, 2 roads intersecting, you cut down everything but the cotoneaster in the fall.
Okay.
And the only thing that's going to be left is the cotoneaster, and then you'll have the daffodils come up in the spring, and then those will come down, the black-eyed Susans will come up, and the switchgrass will come up around May. And then the whole bed will pretty much look like that in fall. And then the crabapple obviously will not be blooming at that time, but it'll bloom around, May. So,
Now, what about mulch instead of grass? Can we put mulch on it?
that's my hope, is that mulch could be used.
Okay.
I just feel like the grass berm is gonna be a weed whack job. I don't know how much weed whacking gets done, but I would say mow up to the mulch and
Right.
then keep the
Mulch the whole mound and, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's-
or try to get, that black-eyed Susan will spread, the grasses will spread and block out weeds, the cotoneaster will enlarge, and it's a good weed blocker. So I would say, go with mulch to a point where everything grows in, and then you don't have to go in there and be, mowing right up to the tippy top of the berm.
Right. That would be the ideal situation, and I think that's what we were trying to discuss, is how could we mulch the whole thing and just plant it, into the top of it. So that would be that'd be great. Crab apples, that's obviously something we could add, or if we wanted to. That's not actually part of the berm. It doesn't have to be part of the berm.
No,
obviously.
that's just to
But
make it
is,
look more of an entrance.
obviously for looks,
Yeah.
definitely.
And a different sign to give a better sense of place.
Yeah, we put up what we had to put up for now, just so it's
Right.
identified, but obviously we knew we were gonna be doing something else, so.
Ray, the whole committee, there was a full consensus that we wanted it all to have low maintenance, and that's why the brick wall was out.
Yeah,
And anything that had to be weed whacked, out.
yeah.
And everybody kind of fell in love with this look here with that sign. It was very impressive.
Yeah, no, it looks great. That would,
So as soon as you do a sign, you're setting the tone and identity for the park, and you can duplicate that wood or that shingle elsewhere in the park, to identify different areas. And so it just welcomes and identifies what the park is all about right away. So it's something that can be added later too. The plantings can go in now if you need to do that, and then we just have to make a space and preparations for it to go in.
Do you have a preliminary cost estimate of this?
I don't, because I didn't know if there was going to be a consensus on exactly what which one we were going to do. So the sign is something I have to price out completely separate. The plant material is going to be fairly easy, and I can get you that. But the soil is something we need to add, because there's not enough soil out there currently. So
we do have soil
Okay.
stockpiled, so we do have the access. Then we can take away everything that's there and put even new soil down if we have to, so it's
yeah,
more contaminated.
I think you could
with
probably use what's there. It's just everything has to be cleared off.
Yeah.
You just probably need at least
about double that. or
double.
triple.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very poor attempt to try to get the DEC off our back and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But it didn't cost us anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, we definitely would like to proceed. And again, this doesn't have to happen now. I'm not that concerned with the contractor getting his $5,000 retainer back. It was a multi-million-dollar project.
Wow.
I don't think $5,000 is going to break the company. Yes, we need to do it. But if it's not a great time to try and finish it, it's getting kind of late in the year.
Yeah.
You know, if it'd be better to wait till spring, so be it.
It would be
you know?
better.
Yeah.
It would be better.
So I'm not really pressing to say we gotta get this done immediately. So,
If you have to do something, I would say do the soil in place, and you'd have to put some sort of erosion control fabric over it for the winter. You know, so why bother with that expense?
right,
Only if you have to. And then if you don't have to, I would just say wait, and then everything can be adjusted much better in the spring. Buy all the plants in the spring, get them in the ground, and
Yep.
yeah. But if you'd like, I can price it out.
that would be fabulous. If you could give us, at least a ballpark of what you think, how many plants and how much it would be, that'd be great to move forward. Not counting, like I said, the soil we'll have in place.
Yeah.
So,
So that's a soil as expense the town can
Yes.
bear. Okay.
Yeah. So, if we can just get an idea on the plantings and how many and
Yep.
an idea,
So
that'd be great.
plantings and mulch.
And mulch. Yeah.
And mulch, mulch will purchase as well, so.
And leave the sign and trees for later.
If we itemize
The
it
trees,
all
we
out.
could wait, if you itemize it, fine. I mean, the sign, maybe we could have, it'd be nice to put that in because we're going to dig right around it anyway, so it'd be nice to do the sign and the entrance together. The trees could always be done at some
anytime.
other point. But let's concentrate on that, and then, when we work on the rest of it, maybe figure out planting trees.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Is the depth an issue for the trees?
Could
It
be.
is.
Could
We
be.
do have 2
You
foot of
could-
soil,
Oh,
so.
okay, so
2
what I
foot-
would recommend is just small trees then.
If we break, we can go deeper and plant deeper, but we do have to get permission, so.
Right, so I just would
Just
recommend
break them.
small trees. You could do bare root trees, which really don't need, but probably, 12 inches. Or just container trees that are only requiring of a foot or so. They're not gonna be big for several years. You'd have to do some deer, right, around here? Yeah, deer protection and things like that.
And they can penetrate this, they can penetrate on themselves, but if we penetrate the cap, we're,
Did they go 2 feet in the front? I thought it was 1 foot in the front and 2 in the
I
back.
think from the grading, it looks like that.
yes, you're right, up by the front, it is 1 foot. I'm
Once we
sorry.
get out to the parking lot from there on, it was
Then
like
it's
2
deeper.
feet.
It
Yeah,
is.
but this is a 2-foot berm on top of what's there.
Right. The
So,
planting up front would be all right, the trees would be an issue.
So you're proposing that the trees go on top of the berm?
no, they're just in the lawn, wherever
Okay,
makes
that's-
sense.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, no trees on the berm.
Okay.
No,
They'll
we
take
can't-
over,
We can't have
yeah.
that for the site distance anyway,
Yeah.
so. Okay, we had a question, you still have a question?
It was regarding the sign, it would be nice to get a sign up soon, but since the Parks Committee is working on kind of a bigger plan for the whole thing, I think it would be nice to wait because there may be as you mentioned, it would be nice to be able to replicate a theme, and I feel like we need to wait a little bit until we have the bigger kind of
Spring.
overall plan.
It's something that we can always, they're not hard plants to dig and put back in, so we can always remove and replace and put back in if a sign needs to go
And
in.
I think, Ray, based on what you're considering right now, is that we are going to wait until spring.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Figure it out over
We
the
wait
winter.
Until
Yeah.
It was the
spring.
consensus of the group, but Ray, you mentioned something about getting permission to put the trees in.
to
Only if we
the-
penetrate the fabric, which in that front area is a foot. Once you get back to the blacktop and past it, it's 2 feet. So if we dig deeper than the fabric, we do have to get a permission from the DEC. And it's not saying we can't do it, we just have to get them to sign off.
So what do you think we can do now in order to prepare for the spring?
I will just get the pricing, I guess we will start thinking about signage for the park and see what kind of design we want for signage.
How long does it take are we gonna dig that low, or do we need to start?
Well,
the
you could do a
process?
3-foot footer, it sounds like, with a foot that's in the front and then the 2 feet berm, so that's a 3-foot. 4 foot is for us. So that's a minimal amount, but it could probably be done.
Without going for permission, okay.
Yeah, without asking for a special permission. And then,
Right.
I would just keep everything else small, on the small side, that's all. They'll grow.
Great.
And we'll work on it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
very
excellent.
nice.
I really appreciate your work on this. Fabulous, and we're glad to have you helping out with this and taking over.
Well, it looks very, very nice.
It looks a lot better than what we have.
Very
I'll
nice.
just leave it all.
All right, perfect. Thank you again. I appreciate the rendition. We do have do have a couple things to go over, but I do want to hand this out, and I don't know, Mary, did you, we're going to pass this, but I do have a couple copies if you want to go through who's here, just the outline of what we discussed.
Sure.
Is that the plan?
Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit.
Yeah, I have to.
I didn't give you a copy? Okay.
No,
All right.
Bob did, but.
All right, well, let's get started with our meeting. Approval of prior town board meeting minutes. Do we have any corrections, suggestions, comments?
I got a suggestion, what about having Patrizio?
I'm gonna have them go right after I do this.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, early. That's
gonna do
what
it
my
right
thought
after
was.
this.
Okay.
Comments, corrections? Move to approve? Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Chris and Dawn?
Opposed? Carried. Before we start with the communications to the board, we have a nice, patient little young man over here. It's been perfect so far. I'm going to let him speak. Patricio, I think it is. I would like to have you come on up if you don't mind. Well, we don't have a podium, but over by the screen, if you don't mind. I'll let you make your comments.
Hello everyone, my name is Patricio Gonzalez. I've been living in this community for 25 years, working for soccer. I just wanted to thank you for the soccer field. We, the Spanish community, we like soccer. And we have younger kids around here in the farm of soccer. And these kids play soccer in Red Hook every Saturday, and they go practice in Fridays, right? Fridays, and we enjoy having them playing soccer. And when we saw, and we hear from Mr. Tausi too, the soccer field, we were really happy. And personally, myself, with my family, when we saw the place over there, the soccer, we went and checked it out.
He was like a little boy when you told him. That's how he was. Really excited.
And yeah, my son and my daughter's not here right now, but actually yesterday we were practicing over there. I think I saw someone, that was
It
you,
was
right?
me, striking the field, absolutely.
Yes. And so yeah, we wanted to say thank you. And it's not just for me, but it's younger kids that love play soccer, especially my family that lives over here. It's like three boys, not two boys and one girl. They play soccer in Red Hook. And every time that we go and see them, well, I haven't seen them, but my wife, she's been over there and they love soccer. And they were, when I told them about, oh, let's go and play soccer over here, we just go walking. And they were, yes, yes. But that day was raining, so we couldn't go.
Right now.
It's like every day.
And so yeah, I'm really thank you for all the
Very
community.
thankful. I mean,
Okay.
especially for our kids, the little ones, they love it.
And
Well, that's what we did it for. Obviously, we're doing it for the community, for the youngsters. We certainly want people to use it. And like I said, I was the one who saw you over there Sunday. And I didn't actually ask them to come in, believe it or not. But I certainly do appreciate you guys coming in and voicing your gratefulness for the field. I mean, it is a nice place. We want people to use it.
Yes.
Feel free to use it. I know the soccer league from the town has used it for practices. I don't think they've played any games there yet, but they have been using it. The field has already got enough use to justify putting it in for me. But we certainly appreciate you taking your
yeah,
time to come in tonight.
and actually, if anything like labor you need, I'll be available.
Get his phone number.
Yeah, I have it.
I know Mary for another time too. And yeah, I mean, we are thankful and we
We
appreciate
want
it.
to get involved too and help in any way that we can.
Okay. All right. Well, if something comes up where we could use some help, we'll let you know.
Yeah, it's,
Absolutely.
I just live across the street.
Sure. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming in this evening. Appreciate it. And enjoy the field.
Soccer field? Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good stuff right there.
It is. Yeah, they're nice.
Okay, let's move on to the, I don't even know where we are. Communications to the board, Mary, town clerk
Good.
report. I've been all over the place tonight.
I know. You want this
Let's
first?
do the clerk report.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, clerk's report for October 2018. Community house lease, $1,000. Dog licenses, $22.50. Building permits, $2,570. Certificates of occupancy, $850. Driveway permits, $25. Town clerk fees for vital statistics, birth certificate, $10. New York State DEC hunting and fishing licenses, $6.74. Solid waste fees, $1.50. Community house donations, $200. Miscellaneous for postage, $24.70. I should say postage reimbursement for a overnight letter it was. Paid to New York State, so the total for the general fund, total of the check is $4,710.44. Paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets for dog surcharges, $9. Paid to New York State DEC for hunting and fishing licenses, $102.26. Paid to Columbia County Solid Waste, $18.50. Total for October, $4,840.20.
Very good. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, a good month.
Very good month. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the mail review. Do we have anything?
I do. The Questar 3, which is located on Route 66 in Hudson, this is a Columbia Green Educational Center. They're having a Veterans Day lunch on Thursday, November 8th. Seatings are at 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. or 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. Dessert and coffee in our reception areas. The number to call for reservations, 518-828-4157. Okay, for veterans, I guess, Veterans Day lunch,
Veterans Day
so
lunch.
obviously. Elder Express, I have them on the table in the back. This is for October, November, December issue. So it's there, pick up a copy if you'd like. And that is all I have.
Yeah, all right.
That's it.
Okay, we'll move on to the correspondence to the web committee. Anybody have any comments, questions, complaints for the web committee?
I do want to say that
Uh-oh.
I did look at the prototype that you had sent us the link to. It's great. It's really, has so much more of life to it than what we have right now, and it has a lot of, there's a lot of possibility out there. So I'm really very appreciative of all the work that your committee, and I know Ellen Earl in particular did.
She's done a ton.
It's really great. It's going to be fantastic.
Excellent. All right. Perfect. Let's move on. Committee reports. Obviously, Bob's not here. Evan, do you have anything to add?
Not a whole lot to add. We did pass out the link to the website to the board and heard some positive comments back from several of the board members. Thank you. And so now we're kind of in the stage of moving content from the old to the new, making sure everything is up to date. Starting to work through the processes. I spent a little bit of time with Mary going over the new site. Mary and I are the two main updaters of the website, so we need to make sure that how to do the updates on the new one are clear and straightforward. So we did a preliminary session, and we'll probably do more this month with just making sure that everything is clear how it works on the new website versus the old.
Okay. When will the public get a chance to see this? Any idea?
We haven't discussed as a committee because we've been kind of just working via email and remotely from each other. But maybe this coming
First of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, good, excellent. I'm sure people will be much happier with the new and improved version, so I'm sure they'll be glad to see it. All right, excellent, thank you. Chris, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
All right, Dawn?
I just wanted to mention that on October 13th, Hudson River Heritage used Clermont Academy as kind of their station for people to pick up their maps and everything for their Country Seats tour. It seemed to work out really well. When I met them at 2:30 to close up, they were very happy, and over 100 people came through the house that morning, so it seemed like it really
It was
worked out
busy.
nicely for them.
I saw a lot of people went out here. Okay, excellent. And there was nothing, no hitch, everything went off good?
No,
everything
I
was
mean,
good?
I opened the door for them, and a couple
Good.
hours later came back and closed it, so it seemed to work fine.
Were they charged a fee, or is this?
No, we just let them do it gratis. It's a fundraiser for them.
Excellent, thank you. All right, let's move on to old business. Mostly a bunch of updates. Hail damage, I contacted Finger Insurance because I have not heard from the adjuster. Remember I last month mentioned that we found some additional damage to the roof on the back, metal roof on the back building. And I contacted Finger, they copied me on an email, they sent it to the adjuster as of last week. I still have not heard back, as of today I haven't heard back, so I'm just waiting to hear when he's gonna be able to come take a look at that and see what we can do about that roof damage.
I did notice one other piece of damage the other day. We have there's like a little shed back by where the grill is, which
Yeah.
has one of these windows, the louvered glass panes.
Okay.
Those got broke out on the west side of it.
Oh, good, I'm glad he didn't come
Probably
yet.
only $20 or something to fix, but
This paint on the shed, all right. We'll see, I'll definitely mention it when he's here. Okay, so yeah, I'll let everybody know as soon as when I finally have a meeting with them, take a look at this and see what we can come up with. DEC bill for the remediation, mentioned last month that we received an additional bill for remediation work on the brownfields that we did not agree with. We're looking for justification and some supporting documentation. DEC did send that information. I forwarded it on to the town engineer, which looked at it and somewhat agreed that didn't really look like we should have to pay all this. So his suggestion was to send it to the attorney, which I was going to do anyway. So I sent it to the town attorney for his review, and I'm still waiting to hear back from him. He basically said that he will look at it, not in any immediate rush, but he's definitely going to look at it. He said we shouldn't be in any hurry to get back to DEC, because look how long it takes them to do anything for us. But but that being said, he is reviewing it. I don't know if we'll have an answer back, hopefully by the December meeting, what he thinks and what we should do, and then we'll set up that conference call meeting and then go over everything with them. So we'll see. I'll keep everybody updated. Veterans Monument dedication. Just want to mention that the veterans every year come around to the three towns, Germantown, Livingston, Clermont, present a flag, do a little ceremony. This year we are going to have them come at 1 p.m., which is a little bit different. Usually they do it in the morning. We're actually going to do the dedication of the monument in the back where we're putting it on the hill. We're supposed to have the monument in time. Hopefully everything goes fine and on schedule, but it is November 11th. Anybody that would like to join us, please feel free to do so. Like I said, it will be at 1 p.m. and it will be over on the new site on the hill by the parking lot. So please join us if you can. Property reval, I just had a few people ask me about this past month, and I just wanted to explain it really quick one more time. We are doing a full reevaluation of the properties in Clermont this year. Data mailers did go out, and I think that's what some people didn't maybe realize, but data mailers went out to all the parcels asking to verify or change anything that wasn't right on your property listing. She has received, the assessor has received them back. She's doing the inputs. But we will be doing the first, roughly around the 1st of December, will be the valuations to reevaluate all the properties. They'll be reviewed December and January, and the state will be reviewing this as well, but it will be taking effect in the tax rolls as of March. So they will have it all taken care of by February. It's a compressed schedule. I don't know, it seems like they have it under control or working on it, but it is going to be done for this next coming year. So I just want everybody to realize that if you see next year when you receive your bill, your values may change a little bit, and if they went up, doesn't mean your taxes are going to go up, because everybody's might have went up. You might not have went up as much as somebody else, but the state has dropped our valuations down to 91% for the year. saying that all our parcels, or most of our parcels, are undervalued. So what we're doing is trying to bring everybody up to the full value as far as the state is concerned, which we don't always agree with, but we have to. So that is in the process, and it will be done. Again, don't panic if you see your assessment went up a little bit, because it doesn't necessarily mean your taxes go up.
Well, we
Please
all
wait.
filled out forms
The forms, if you have changes.
if we have changes.
Correct.
So everybody should be aware of.
Right. Well, some, yeah, some. But, so, that to be said, we'll keep you updated on the process. As long as everything's going fine, we should be good. The park committee, I just want to mention, what I did is I put together a basic, I don't know if you want to call it a mandate, I call it an outline, maybe it's a mandate, but a list for the park committee to use as an outline, let's put it that way, to try to start working on the property. I listed several items that we've discussed. I've emailed this to all the board members. We reviewed this, and I think it's a general outline of moving forward that we'd like to have the park committee start looking at. Not any order necessarily. Basically, the entrance, I think we discussed, and we had that tonight, is probably the priority to get that taken care of. But as far as that in general, maybe incorporating the survey results and maybe the order we start looking at things. I'll leave that up to the committee. I know the chair of that committee is very capable of handling this. And I do want to mention, and Bob Desmond was on this committee, is on this committee, he is going to, he agreed to remove himself from this committee. Mary is going to be the chairperson of this committee. Being on the board as a voting board member on the decisions we make going forward or not going forward, doesn't necessarily mean he needs to be on the committee to be doing any suggestions. So as far as being a voting member, I think that could take place on the board and lead the research and the ideas and the work to the committee and let them bring it forward to the board. So he's removing himself from the committee. Mary's going to chair this committee, and I know she'll do a fantastic job. And we certainly look forward to ideas, and some foresight on where we think we should be heading with this. That being said, I know everybody's had a chance to review this. I'd just like to have a board motion to pass this as an outline for them to work with.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? How often does the committee meet, and when does your committee meet?
We have been meeting monthly since, we met in July and we skipped August, and we met September and October. And it's at the I do a doodle poll to figure out which evening works best for folks, and we go by that.
Okay.
And I email all the members and send a copy to Mary so that it's available for the public.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Maybe I should have put it on here, but maybe what you can do is, I don't know necessarily if every month you're gonna have to, you wanna come report or come to the board with something, but when you do wanna come to the board or have something to come to the board with, just shoot me a quick email, I'll put you on the agenda, that way we make sure we know you're coming and make time. Thank you. Yes?
I just want to mention something about the suggestions, that everybody has a flower or a tree that they love. And what we're learning from the expert is that the tree that you or I may love can't grow there. So refrain from offering your favorite tree and saying why we can't, because the expert has told us there's certain things that just won't grow. So I don't want anybody to get into a tip. I see bulbs here. I don't know if that can grow.
Or the deer may enjoy
Yeah.
that.
So, Amy has really been so
We're using
helpful.
her.
She's worth
Very much.
it's great, she's
Every
involved.
penny we aren't paying.
Yeah, every penny we're not paying her, that's excellent.
Free.
Right. No, and that's exactly why, like I said, we're not horticulturists. We don't know what's gonna be the appropriate thing to put there, and that's why we're looking for help. And, we're lucky enough to have somebody with that background, it makes it much easier. So, absolutely. Very good, thank you. And again, I wanna make sure I say it, and I'll say it several times, I certainly appreciate everybody that's involved, and we certainly are glad to have the involvement and the help and volunteers that are helping us out with this. So again, thank you, and thank your committee that aren't here this evening, please. Okay, new business. A couple things I don't have on the agenda. First, we had a request from the planning board and the zoning board, both at the same time, which is really odd. We haven't had a request from them in probably 8 years. The planning board had requested us to make a recommendation for the town board to adopt a lot line adjustment law. This has been an ongoing issue, I guess they've been dealing with for a long time. There is no actual lot line adjustment in the actual laws, so it's been treated as a minor subdivision, I believe. So this is something we should look at, and what I'm gonna do is obviously ask, our attorney to take a look at what laws are on the books for others and see if we can come up with something that's simple that we can actually separate the two and give them some guidance on. Because we do a lot of lot line adjustments, I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I think other towns do the same thing, and they don't have anything in place. It's certainly no reason why we can't or shouldn't.
Yeah, because it is
It's common.
it's a much simpler, streamlined process for a lot line adjustment, that we don't need to go through a lot of this other stuff for minor adjustment. So I think it's something very simple we can do. It is a suggested that we look at it, and, I don't think we need to answer that. I think we'll just have the attorney take a look and move forward on that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, this came up at the
ZBA.
zoning board.
ZBA is next.
Yeah.
ZBA has made a recommendation for a statement on the website encouraging potential applicants to attend application night, so they will be better prepared for coming before the ZBA and submitting their applications. So this is something that I believe the board has kicked around a few times and wanted to make it mandatory. Some of them didn't want to make it mandatory, but they at least wanted to be a statement suggesting that they go to it. Am I interpreting that correct? To me, I have no problem with that. I mean, that's just simple wording to put on next to the, on the website. I don't think we have to even do anything about that unless anybody disagrees.
No, I agree.
This
It's
is
just an encouragement.
just to encourage it. It's not a mandate, it's not required, but I mean, it's
Right.
telling people it's better to do it. So I don't have a problem with that.
It saves time.
I think right now we have a statement about when that time is, but I don't think we say anything, so that probably most people see that and they have no idea what it is. And
Okay.
if the ZBA has some suggested wording, you can send it to me
Well, here it is right here.
or, yeah, okay.
The ZBA isn't meeting this month, but,
Well, I'll try to come up with something based on this, and then you guys look at it and we can change the wording.
application night,
It can only be hunting.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll make something and you take a look, and next time you meet, if you want it changed, let me know.
Okay, all right, simple enough. I think we can accommodate both of those very, very easily, that one especially. All right. Parks and Recs donations. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Howard for a donation of $4,000, which was very generous for the park. I really appreciate it. The town appreciates it. And I also have a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Clemente. They are agreed to donate the flagpole and a flag for the Veterans Monument area. So he has ordered that, and they're working on that. So I certainly want to thank both of you. Appreciate the donations, and helps us offset the cost for everyone. That's great. I guess we'll move on to the budget. The budget, we went over the budget in the, in the budget hearing. I don't really have anything else to add at this point. The total amount, again, for the budget, $756,067. The amount to be raised by taxpayers is exactly the same as last year, $104,580. Other than that, we went through everything. Anybody else have any input or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the 2019 budget. Nobody wants to adopt the budget?
I'll make the motion.
We need a budget.
I mean,
You either have a problem with it or hope you're voting for it.
So.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
any further discussion?
No, I mean, based on everything that I've gone through, I wasn't at the workshop meeting, but all the other documents and the meeting minutes that I went through, I had no problem with, no issues with it. So,
Is that a second?
I don't know. Was that-
You
was that-
made a motion?
I'll second.
We got a motion, we got a second.
I mean,
Any other
surprised I
discussion?
made the motion based on our previous discussions, but
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Man, that was painful. Gary. All right. Sales tax revenue. That's, I always love talking about sales tax. You'll see on the back of the, not on the budget, on the back of the budget reports, the sales tax revenue for this past month came in about just shy of 8% higher than last year at this time. Last year, I was very happy because for the first time in 10 years, we received a payment of over $100,000 for our sales tax quarterly check. It was just right around $100,000. This year, it's $108,536.09 for the third quarter payment. That's phenomenal compared to what we've been receiving. Again, it's up 8% from last year this time. For the year, it's a little over 7%. For this whole year, it's higher than last year. That certainly helps offset the taxes in our budget. And one thing I didn't mention in the budget, which is kind of late now, we adopted, but we did increase slightly the revenues because the revenues are so much higher. We did actually increase our revenue prediction on our budget as well to help offset the spending. But we continue to collect roughly $30,000 more than budgeted this year. And, if it continues, hopefully, I mean, we're not counting on it. We do have a cushion. If it does go back down a little bit, we have a cushion, but, we certainly are in good shape with the revenues. So I can't stress enough, say it all the time, I'm not gonna really go through it all again, but please spend your money locally, it helps. Absolutely, the county and town. Last thing on the new business, we were served with a certified letter from the Devereaux Foundation of New York that they are proposing a group home, another group home in Clermont, to be located on Cemetery Road. And I brought this up and we spoke to the board about this. We had this come up about, 7-8 years ago. A home came in, it was in flight at the time. We have 6 homes currently in Clermont for the mentally handicapped, the mentally challenged children. And this will be number 7. Now, we challenged it last time because these are homes that are high-priced homes, and they come off of our tax rolls completely because these are nonprofit businesses. This particular home that they're looking at and proposing is almost a $500,000 property. Again, the last one was $440,000 that came off our tax roll. So, ran this by the board. I've talked to Bob about it. I think we're all kind of on board with this. We did challenge it last time. You can challenge it. There's a process to challenge it. You have a hearing. The state comes down. They basically listen to you, and then they do it anyway. But you put up an argument that, why is Clermont being concentrated with this small little tax base that we have? When you go to Germantown, they have 1 or 2 homes. You go to Livingston, I believe they have 1. You go to all the surrounding towns, and they have 1 or 2 homes. Why do we have 7 homes off of our tax rolls for a little town that we are? So, without spending a ton of money on this, I really would like to at least pay our attorney to write an objection challenging it, ask for a hearing, make the state come down, and let them listen to us again about, give us a break. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, this challenges our volunteer services and our tax base. And again, I would argue saturation. I mean, why do we have 7 homes when nobody else has, 2 or 3? So the board has discussed this, and again, I'll leave it up for discussion, but I would like the motion to proceed with having the attorney file a challenge on this and at least ask for a hearing to hear us out on it.
so moved.
Any other discussions? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll keep everybody updated as we move forward. Supervisor report. I'd like to address something that was brought to my attention last month in regards to speeding. I believe, I know he's not here this evening, but it was brought to my attention on Buckwheat Road. There was several reports of multiple cars speeding. I did talk to the sheriff personally. He has increased patrols on the area. They have been clocking people. They have not found people. I think the fastest speed they found was 49 on the road, which is a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is fast, but nothing extravagantly over the speed limit. I did stress to him that, you know, we have had several complaints. We would like to think about possibly a speed sign, you know, to try to deter people from speeding. He recommended that, you know, he really doesn't think we should go that route yet. What he'd like to do, and his recommendation is, and we're going to do it, they have a portable speed sign, not one that we were talking about last month, but they have a portable speed sign. It's one of those bigger ones they sit by the side of the road. It reads your speed, but it also records the data of who it is, plate reader, how fast you're going, and time and all that kind of stuff. So it gives them a lot of information on who's speeding, how fast they're going, when they're doing it. So he wants to start with that. He says, well, let's try that, see if we can narrow it down to, you know, what times, who is it, and then maybe we can sit there and try and pinpoint some of these, but not single anybody out, but just try to get an idea of when, how fast the speeds are, because they can record all day long, all night long, so they can get an idea, you know, what it is. So I said, that's great. So they're coming down this week to do that. I'm meeting with them to set this in place. I know the individual was thinking about trying to purchase a sign to put out, and I really don't want to go that route because, you know, somebody wants to put a sign up and then 10 other people want to put one of these radar signs up and you got them all over town. It just doesn't, you know, that could be something we really don't want all over the town. Yeah. So I am working on it. We have, included the sheriff in this. I am going to try to follow up and see what we can do to try to get this under control, but I just wanted to put that out there that we are looking into this, and we'll see what we can get, how we can make some progress on slowing people down. And if anybody watches this, you may not want to speed on Buckwheat Road.
Right.
Sarah, go ahead.
County Route 6 as well. I mean, it's a 40-mile zone, but people do actually speed, and it's often trucks, and the little kids there as well. So maybe this machine can be...
It is portable. I mean, they only own, I believe, 2 of them, and that was a problem. We had to wait to get this one, but, we can move it around. I mean...
Might be just to get a sense of,
I actually asked them how much one would be to purchase it, and it's $30,000. And I don't think we want to go there, so we're going to borrow theirs.
Maybe if we could move it, it'd be really cool, just to see, because it seems a lot.
Well, if there is multiple areas that we could move it around and get a sense and record, and see for the day or two, sure. Sure.
As a follow-up to Sarah's observation, would it help if Sarah or others wrote a letter saying to take this machinery and bring it to County Route 6? Would that help you out in making a case?
Well, I mean, basically just a complaint would help me, knowing where it is, what road it is. I mean, that's all, and usually, I like to have a couple complaints, but, that's certainly.
A complaint.
And then a follow-up. You said the device reads people's license plates. Does the sheriff's office then follow up saying to people as a courtesy, you're speeding?
I don't think so. I think they just use it for informational purposes. Yeah, it's not like they can send you a ticket off of it or something like that, but they think they just try to figure, I don't know why, but that's what they use it for.
Right, and at what point would the data push them to a policy to put up a sign or a speed bump or some other intervention?
Well, it is a town road, so it's a town decision. It's not a county road, so, that would be up to the town to act on if we need to. Absolutely. So, but again, let's start with this, see where we go, and how, see how we make out. I just want to point out again, I want to thank the Park Committee. I want to thank for their work and their involvement. I want to thank the people that worked on the website committee. We've had a lot of volunteers this year, and it's really been great. It's been helping out a lot of issues we're addressing. I want to thank the Highway Department, again, for their work and their involvement and everything. I mean, they certainly keep us rolling. And I just want to go back to it, and I know people don't want to keep hearing it over again, but the soccer field, I really think, personally, I was out there, my daughter had a soccer game, my daughter plays soccer, she had a soccer game Sunday, and when I got back, I actually went over there Sunday afternoon to finish lining parts of the field, and that's when I actually saw the couple that was in here earlier. They were there with their kids, and it was just nice to see people out there using it. I do know that there's been several times people, and I don't know, Sarah's probably seen them out there, but there's been several issues where people have been out there using it already, and it's great. I mean, a lot of people don't even know about it yet. But I do think it's going to be, it's going to be utilized, it's going to be used, and it is a beautiful spot for it. It's a beautiful field for it, and I can't be happier to say that we have a nice place like that for kids to play. We do have, my daughter plays on a travel soccer league, sort of like your daughter does, and they practice all over the place. They're having trouble getting fields, and they may even use it to practice on once in a while. And that has 2 girls from Clermont, maybe a third going to be on it, and also a girl from Gallatin. And Red Hook and Rhinebeck girls. They all play in this travel league. So I'm sure and I'm positive that field will be utilized, and I'm glad we could put something up that could be used by any of the youth in the county or even out of the county. And again, thanks for all the donations. Obviously, again, please, anybody that can donate, that has donated, we certainly appreciate it. I'll run through the list. The immediate list of the recent ones was Mr. and Mrs. Howard, $4,000. We had the town engineer, $1,000. We had the town attorney, $500. Finger Insurance, $1,000. And Southern Columbia Little Soccer League, $1,000. So right there is over $8,000 right there, just those donations, which goes a long way in putting that park together. So we certainly appreciate everybody that's donated. Other than that, I don't have a lot. I just want to thank our election crew, our volunteers, not our volunteers, but they volunteer because it's a long day. I don't care what they're paid, it's not enough. But I want to thank them for everything they do, because it starts at what time? 5.
Polls
30?
open at 6.
And you're here at 5 or 5:30?
5.
5. And you leave it when?
I'll be here at 4:30.
And you leave it when?
10:30.
At night.
11.
Yeah, so just so everybody realizes that's not an easy day. So we certainly hope, nobody's going to see this until after, but I certainly hope people show up to vote. It is.
It's a long day, but come out and vote anyway.
Come out and vote anyway.
They're gonna be here, you might as well come out.
And another set of thank yous, the Village Green Committee for putting on the ham dinner. It's not a ham dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a ham dinner?
Yeah, just
Same hand.
Same ham. All right, putting on the election day dinner. We certainly appreciate that. I hope folks can take advantage of that when they come out to vote. Save from cooking.
5 o'clock, isn't it, Dawn? I think
5 p.m. to 7? 5 to 7.
I don't know how much it is. I don't know if it's on that.
$15?
15 for one helping, 20 for 2 helpings per adult. 5 to 12 years is $5.
That's a little late because nobody's going to see it other than the 4 people here. So.
We're gonna see everybody here.
Yes.
Hi, you mentioned you went into executive session. Now I'm curious about some litigation,
Possible litigation.
possible. Anything you can discuss?
Well, it would be no. No. That's why it's an executive session. Okay, let's move on to motion to pay abstracts.
I would make a motion to pay prepaid abstract number 11, vouchers number 275 through 278, in the amount of $542.20.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I move we pay highway abstract number 11, vouchers 102 to 113, in a total of $9,214.26.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I move we pay general fund, number 11A, vouchers 279 through 307, in the amount of $5,919.90.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, that pays the bills. Move on to public comments. Any other additional public comments? Yes, sir.
I hate to even raise the question, but it
Could
occurred.
you just step up the podium, please?
Sorry.
That's all right.
I hate to raise the question, but on the soccer fields, of people playing on it who are not part of an organized group, do we have liability insurance to cover any injury that may occur?
We have an umbrella policy that covers our park, yes. And then any organized like the Southern Columbia League, if they're using it, they do provide an insurance certificate as well as any other organized team that we use.
So outside groups do have we're attached to their
They
insurance?
will give us a rider, yes,
Yeah.
for the insurance policy.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mary.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for working on the little library. The highway department did a great job building that. I have books for it. I am waiting on a stamp that says courtesy of Germantown Library and Town of Clermont. And I'm also going to get a placard for the top that says the take a book, leave a book, courtesy of your library. So by December, that should be up and running. All right? And I may just shove books in there tomorrow while I'm around and start pointing it out.
I already had somebody comment on it and ask what it was about.
So everybody's done a great job getting that all together, and we will collect volunteers along the way to be good stewards of it and work with the Germantown Library to keep it full for all ages.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mary, we can also donate books to it. also,
Yes,
that people
yes.
can just take.
You can leave a book, just
Yeah.
be sensible about not cramming everything.
Well, I was going to say, what happens when it gets full?
Things come out. That's where these volunteer stewards come in. All right?
Thank you. Thank you for your work on that. I appreciate it. And again, thank the highway department for their work on it, obviously constructing it and installing it.
We know it's solid. And I will say, why do
We
you know?
Yes, we
know
do.
it's solid. Yes, we do. Any other comments, questions, complaints? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.